do you want to know how to sustain your energy levels all day? Let's talk about the relationship between sugar, carbs, and your energy level. The simple sugar molecules that are found in fruit, they're called monosaccharides, or simple sugars, and the main one is glucose. Okay, that's the one that's important for energy. You can also have disaccharides, which are two sugar molecules stuck together. That's like sucrose, which is table sugar. And then you have polysaccharides, which is many sugars connected together. And an example would be starch, which is potatoes and pasta and bread. When you eat those carbohydrates, they get broken down into simple sugars in your body. If you overeat carbohydrates, too much sugar will build up in your blood. If you keep doing this, that is when you start to get big spikes and crashes in your blood sugar. So the question is, why do we have this spike and crash? Why don't we just have a sustained energy level? Well, after you eat carbohydrate, you get the spike. The more carbohydrate you eat, the bigger the spike, and guess what? The bigger the crash also, when your pancreas releases insulin to remove that excess sugar from the blood, bringing it down. But then you have this crash because now there's a lower amount of sugar in the blood, so you start feeling hungry again. This whole cycle over and over again all day long. Exercise will help you with the insulin resistance problem. But if you've had a meal with a lot of carbs, you're going to have a spike in blood sugar regardless if you're fit or not. Now if you're fit, you'll have less of a problem with the insulin resistance, but you'll still have a spike in blood sugar. So you need to realize that when you eat the carbs, you're going to have a spike and then the crash. If you want to sustain your energy throughout the day, you need to avoid the spike, the crash, and loss of focus and energy. So let's talk about that. What's the worst food for your blood sugar? What's the best food for your blood sugar? Worst food would be something with a high glycemic index, right? Like potatoes, white bread, pasta, crackers, biscuits, waffles, pancakes, sodas, and juice. Those are the worst things for your blood sugar, because it is going to shoot right through the roof and in turn crash through the floor. Then we have the best foods. The best foods are foods that are low on the glycemic index, like green vegetables, nuts, seeds, berries, apples, pears, legumes, and tempeh. They won't spike your blood sugar. But let's get back to these spikes and crashes. What does it actually do to your body? Well, anytime you have a spike in blood sugar, you're going to have an equal amount of insulin released to take that sugar out of the blood and put it into the cells. The problem is when you have too much insulin. This can cause a whole host of problems, including oxidative stress, inflammation, high blood pressure, gaining weight, especially visceral fat around your organs, as well as fat on the liver, fatty liver disease, insulin resistance, high triglycerides, and then low H. And so this is why it is so important to understand this concept of the spike and the crash and the compensation by the body by releasing insulin to then take this excess sugar out of the blood. Now, another really interesting thing about this spike and crash is this usually happens in the afternoon, like around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. You start getting this fatigue, this crash. What is that? Well, that is due to the fact that you've been busy all morning, and you may have eaten very little, if anything at all, since last night. Your stomach is empty. You start getting hungry and you start getting a little bit irritable. And then you eat something. Maybe you go out to lunch and you have a big carbohydrate meal. A meal like pasta, French fries, or anything that is highly processed. You come back from lunch and you have this huge spike in blood sugar. And then your pancreas compensates by releasing insulin. And guess what? Insulin can lower your blood sugar too much. And so you start feeling tired, nervous, anxious, irritable, and you might even start to sweat slightly. This can last for 2-3 hours. If you want to avoid this, eat a low carbohydrate lunch and definitely no sugar snacks after lunch. A good snack, a small snack could be like maybe a handful of nuts or some sliced up apple, or a small protein, like maybe some jerky or a boiled egg. This can stabilize your blood sugar, and that can take care of that little 3-4 o'clock energy crash and loss of focus so many people suffer with. Thank you for staying until the end. If you like the content we produce, please subscribe for daily videos on how to improve your energy, focus, and in turn health.